Greg, just how petty is Tom Brady and his camp being by saying all these comments and really kind of putting it out there for us to dissect?
A little, Amina. Look, let me just state that I agree with Team Brady on all their points. I thought that Tom Brady should have gotten a contract extension that lasted the rest of his career after the Falcons Super Bowl. Belichick wouldn't give it to him. Went year to year, wanted to go that way with a 40-year-old quarterback. I thought that Tom Brady should have gotten special treatment in terms of Guerrero and other things towards the end of his career, and Belichick wouldn't do it. I agree with all that stuff. And I agree that Tom should have finished his career here and Bill should have bent a little bit more. But where I have an issue, Amina, is, look, the scoreboard says everything. Tom went to Tampa, went 11-5, won a Super Bowl, had a great year throwing the ball to actual weapons, which he never got in New England. And meanwhile, Bill Belichick was stuck at 7-9 with Cam Newton, sat out the playoffs. Everybody knows the scoreboard. I mean, any vindication that Tom Brady Sr. and Tom Brady need, they got it on the field. We all know this. For them to all of a sudden now start thumping their chest about it, I just think it looks small. The scoreboard said everything, and now all of a sudden, now they're going to get people on Bill Belichick's side, which I could not believe when we started this whole thing.
I definitely understand that the scoreboard says everything that Tom Brady needs to say to Bill Belichick. However, when you take a look at all these comments coming out, how might that paint Tom Brady as the villain as he gets ready to come back to Foxborough?
Because he's thumping his chest. It's just he's basically running up the score on Bill Belichick when he didn't need to. I mean, he's clearly won. It makes them look petty. It makes them look small, like they have these outside egos that need to be satisfied, not just on the field, but off the field. I mean, it's like they're trying to run up the score. And I just think that Tom Brady and his family, which throughout his entire career have been nothing but first class, they still are. You know, I love the Bradys. I love Tom. I love Tom Sr. I love all of them. But they got that way by saying very little and just letting everything, their play on the field, say everything for them. And then all of a sudden now, in the last 2 years, now they talk trash all over the place. They are now not the people that we fell in love with for 20 years.
I'm not going to lie, Greg, I do enjoy Tom Brady and his camp taking a little bit of a victory lap here. I'm not going to lie about that. All right, Bert, I'll start with you. When you take a look at all the comments coming out in regards to Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and their relationship, are you on the side of Greg where it's a bit petty, or are they right to take a victory lap?
I'm going to disagree with my buddy Greg here. I have zero problem with it. And the reason why, guys, you've benefited off of this in Foxborough forever. And you think about all the chips on his shoulder that Brady carried around that you benefited from for 20 years, whether it was Lloyd Carr treating him a certain way at Michigan, whether it was his fall to the 199th pick of the 2000 draft, whether it was how drafting Jimmy Garoppolo pissed him off in 2014 and lit a fire under him. This is who Brady is. He carries these things around with him. They motivate him. They push him. And I think, you know, if you look at this just from an objective point of view, you'd say the way that Brady Sr. was talking this week, the way that Guerrero was talking this week, the fact that they would carry around old grudges like that fits in perfectly with the Brady story over 20 years that helped you win 6 championships here.
Amina, I'm shocked that Bert would take their side. I'm absolutely shocked by this. Here's my thing, Bert. You're absolutely right. Has Tom Brady and the Patriots benefited from grudge holding over the years? Absolutely. Name me one time they've done it publicly before.
Well, I think it's happened. I mean, like, how many times have we heard about the Lloyd Carr thing at Michigan? Seriously. They did a documentary called The Brady Six where they went through, and this is a production by NFL Films, one by one, the quarterbacks who went in front of Tom Brady, from Chad Pennington to Spurgeon Wynn to Chris Redman and the rest of them. So maybe they didn't come out and get in front of a microphone this way or get on the phone with a reporter this way. But we've heard the Michigan story over and over again. We've heard about the 6 quarterbacks who went ahead of him in 2000. And how big a deal was the Jimmy Garoppolo thing in 2017 and 2018?
Tom never said anything about it.
Greg,
Tom
maybe it wasn't the same form that this has taken on, but we've certainly seen sort of those old axes to grind come out publicly in different ways over the last 20 years.
Absolutely, Bert. But I mean, look, if Tom Brady feels this way and he has this conviction, get behind a microphone and say it. If you're pissed off about Belichick, go ahead. Go in front of a microphone. If he did it himself, I'd be fine. All of a sudden, he sends his dad and his best friend out there to do it. He just looks very, very small. And I'm sure this week we'll hear. He already had one appearance this week when he was asked about it. I'm sure he'll be asked about it this week. And Tom Brady will say all the Tom Brady things that he does. I loved my time there. I couldn't have done what I did without those coaches. But for Tom Brady to send out his dad and his best buddy to do it for him, it looks very small. You have to admit that.
I don't think this is coordinated though, Greg. Like I really don't. Like I honestly, I mean, look, like Tom Curran and Karen Garesian are good reporters who've covered this team longer than you and I have, right? And they have relationships with those people. And it was smart of Tom and Karen to get ahead of it and get to these people before they got to game week. And it makes sense because they had standing relationships, Karen with Alex and Tom with Tom Sr., that those people, Alex and Tom, would decide to talk to them. And if Alex and Tom said, "Are you okay with this?" to Tom Jr., and Tom's a little pissed off, maybe Tom just says, "Okay, yeah, go ahead. Do whatever you got to do." And I look, I don't think we're going to hear much more from Camp Brady after this, but I don't think it was a coordinated effort. I just think if you look at it, if you're Tom Jr., it's like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't care. Go ahead. Say whatever you're going to say. Like, I don't need to protect the Patriots
that's fine.
anymore.
But then if he believes that, and obviously he does, his dad says he believes this, then say it come Wednesday, whenever he talks this week. Go ahead. Be in front of a microphone, in front of reporters, and say it. And then, you'll have my respect. You want to illustrate how pissed off you were about how things ended here. I totally get it. And like I said in the last segment, I agree with Team Brady on almost everything. I just thought they just should have let the scoreboard talk, because it talked loudly last season and really made Belichick look bad. And now all of a sudden, now with this chest thumping, all of a sudden now the scales are being balanced a little bit in public opinion.
Well, today, Bill Belichick.
For the record here, Amina,
record
here, we're in the entertainment business. I'm all for Tom Brady getting in front of the microphone and saying the stuff his dad and his personal trainer said.
I am all for Tom Brady getting in front of that microphone.